Hi everybody. So today what we're going to do is just do a few last minute problems working on the taxes that we've been practicing. This will be one of our last days working on this, and then next week there's just a few things I want to show you, and then that'll basically be it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do one example of state income tax, and then we're going to finish off with our Social Security and our Medicare tax, and then that'll be it for today. So what we're going to start with is an example here with state income tax. So it says, Tony's gross pay is $44,750 a year. The state income tax rate is 3% of taxable wages. He takes a single exemption for himself and one personal exemption for a child. How much is withheld from his gross earnings for state income tax for this year? So notice how I broke it up into the steps for us, and we are going to go ahead and fill these in. So let's first start by highlighting some of our key numbers that we were given. So we were given, okay. So we're first going to start by highlighting the key numbers that they gave us. So they gave us 44,750, that's Tony's gross pay, and we also have our percent here. So when we start our steps, well, I think the first thing we could do is fill in our boxes. We have to remember what operations that we're supposed to use when we find our state income tax. So in the first box, we need to put our subtraction symbol because we are subtracting. And in step 2, we are going to use our multiplication. So in step 1, in that very first line right here, we're going to fill in one of the key numbers that I highlighted. So the one that we need to start with is the gross pay, so 44,750. And now in our second line, well, are we supposed to use, so we're done with this, we can cross this out, but are we supposed to use the percent? Are we already up to that? I don't think so, right? So instead, there's got to be another number that we have to use, but where's that number going to come from? So remember that there's a few things that they mention about Tony that are important for us to know. It's important to know that he's single, and it's also important to know that he claims one personal exemption for a child. So with that information, we can go to our table and we can ask ourselves, well, if Tony is single, how much are we supposed to be subtracting? So in our box, we need to take 2,000 for single. But now he's not just claiming single, but he's also claiming one child, which is referred to as a dependent. So for a dependent, that's another $2,000. So altogether, 2,000 plus 2,000 is going to give us 4,000. So this is the number that we're going to put right here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract 44,750 with that 4,000, and our answer is going to be 40,750. Okay. Now before we go to step 2, this number that we just got here, this is important for a reason. Where, or when are we going to need to use this number? Well, we have to remember, whenever we have step 1, and we get an answer, there's a reason that we did it. It's because we need it in step 2. We got to bring it down. And now there's only one line left and also one number that we have not used yet, which is our 3%. We should know that we can't leave it as a percent, so we need to take 3, put our imaginary decimal in the back, and move it 2 places to the left, where we're going to fill in a 0 in our empty spot. So 0.03. So we're going to go ahead and multiply, and we will be done. So final answer for this problem is $1,222.50. And that's it. That's our final answer. All right, now let's do a little bit of practice of Social Security and Medicare. So it says Adrian Dunbar's weekly pay is $1,750. What amount is deducted from his pay this week for Social Security? And how much is taken out from Medicare? So we're going to start with Social Security. Okay, we should remember from yesterday that the operation that we use when we do Social Security, and it's also the same for Medicare, so I can even start by writing this down, is going to be multiplication. Okay, but it's important that for Social Security and Medicare, we have to use a set rate. So the rate that we use for Social Security is always going to be 6.2%. And for Medicare, it's going to be 1.45%. So we're going to take our percent and we're going to turn that into a decimal. So moving it once, twice, we have 0.062. We're going to put that on our first line. We can even go ahead and start working on Medicare. We're going to take our 1.45. We're also going to move it 2 places to the left, which turns into 0.0145. And now there's one number that we have not used yet, and it's going to be the same number we put on both of these lines. That number is 1,750. And by doing this, we're going to get our answer. So I'm going to do both of these. We're going to do the first line, 0.062 times 1,750. So our first answer is $108.50. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the second one, which is 0.0145 times 1,750 again. Let's take a look at this number here, though. Can we leave our answer like this? No, right? We can't. We need to round, and we should be rounding to the nearest hundredth. And the number that's located in the hundredth place, now we're only looking at the numbers after the decimal, so I'm going to move this over so you're just focusing on the 3, 7, and the 5. So the number in the hundredth place is 7. And our next door neighbor, the number right to the right of 7, is the number 5. So with that information, we know if the number is 5 or more, we raise the score, and the number 5 is 5 or more. So we have to raise that 7 to an 8, so 25.38. That's our answer. All right, last one. Andrew earns $54,000 a year, paid on a monthly basis. How much is deducted per pay period for Social Security tax and for Medicare tax? What is the total? We're actually not going to solve this whole thing. I just want to save us time. But this is an important problem. We actually practiced this yesterday. So there's something that you have to notice. So it says Andrew earns $54,000 a year. So in 1 year, this is how much he's going to make. But they tell us that Andrew gets paid monthly. That doesn't really match up, a year and a month. If he gets paid monthly, then I want to know how much is his monthly paycheck. But they're not telling me his monthly paycheck. They're telling me how much he makes a year. So we have to do something here. So let's first think, the key word monthly. I taught you guys 4 key numbers. I'm writing them down. Which of these key numbers represents monthly? Monthly. So if someone gets paid monthly, how many times do they get paid a year? 12, because there are 12 months in a year. So we're going to use 12. But what are we going to do with that 12? So think about what's happening here. I'm going from a year to a month. We should hopefully remember this a little bit. So we are going from something big to something small. And when we do that, what operation are we supposed to use? Multiplication or division? So whenever we want to get smaller, we always use division. So what are we going to divide? We're going to take that big number, 54,000, and we're going to divide by that key number 12, and let's see what we get. 4,500. So this is not the answer to the problem. It's just the first step that we had to do. We're not going to actually finish this problem because it's just the same exact thing we did up here, and I know it gets a little tiresome. So I'm going to stop there. So you guys have officially learned all 4 types of taxes that I will be teaching you this year: federal, state, Social Security, and Medicare. And that's it, guys. All right, great job. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.